You are listening to CrossTalk, a safe place to discuss addiction, recovery, harm reduction, and everything in between. Support for this podcast comes from the Kentucky Opioid Response Effort and Advocates of Recovery. Content and production by the team at Turning Point Recovery Community Center. Now, buckle up and get ready for the show.
Welcome everyone to CrossTalk Recovery, the recovery podcast that supports all forms of recovery. I'm Matt Lewis, and I'm here with
Sam Peterson,
Matt Hobby,
and Joey Colson.
Welcome you all back again. We did one recently all together that was a lot of fun, and Sam had the idea today, which I thought was a cool idea, to have, well, if you're watching, you'll see that Sam's wearing a Louisville Cardinals hoodie, and
yes,
Hobby is wearing something. I don't know. It's ugly. I can't tell what it is.
It's blue.
And about how that there's so many in recovery. We end up as people from a lot of different paths, people that wouldn't normally mesh. I know a lot of us probably would not have hung out or talked to each other, even in our addiction. We might have taken advantage of each other or manipulated each other in some way or robbed from each other.
I would have bought drugs from you,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I never sold drugs.
but we wouldn't have. We definitely wouldn't have told each other that we loved each other.
No, none of that.
Which is where we're at today. So I thought it was a good idea to do that, to talk about, have a podcast talking about the differences of where we used to be and where we're at now, and how that's such a beautiful thing about recovery. And we were just talking to another guy who's not on here now. He's this really old guy that, I mean, it's amazing he's still alive. Dale Powell, you know who you are. And, none of us would be talking to him
no,
if it wasn't for recovery. So,
I don't talk to him much now.
Right. Yeah.
No, I'm just
trying to get him out of here.
That's just a joke, you know.
Yeah.
I love Dale.
Yeah, we're giving him a hard time. We tried to get him to come on here. But, so, and on top of that, there's a Kentucky game going on right now that's got Hobby
preoccupied.
Preoccupied.
28 to 27. Kentucky's up with 6 minutes to go, and Clemson just ran it back, Joey, to 40-yard line, 30-yard line.
Good deal.
So here we go.
We're watching the game on this
Kentucky
podcast. I'll have to go back and get highlights to paste up in the corner. But yeah. So Sam, this was your idea. So
yeah. I was just thinking, which I'm from Muhlenberg County, so I'm used to being the only Louisville fan in the room a lot of times. But me and you, for instance, I know me and you wouldn't have probably been friends out there. We've probably been in the same bar because we were in Louisville at the same time. Yeah. But I'm sure we just passed each other and was like, I don't even know who that dude is.
Right.
But when you get into recovery and you start making new friends, it's not the friends you expected it to be most of the time. Or I find that or you start to find you have a whole lot more in common with people that you've never been around before. Like Joey, for instance, which we all love.
I use Joey in my lead when I give it.
Right.
Yeah. And he's one of the examples that I use of, if I would have seen Joey on the street, unless we were doing drugs together, I would have never talked to him.
Right.
And in recovery, when he came in the first day, I was like, oh my God, Joey can be a little much. But look, over a year now, and we talk multiple times a week. We're doing this podcast together.
He just got the Up-and-Comer Award.
Just got the congratulations.
Yeah,
by the way.
there we go.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal.
I didn't vote for you, but
I did.
But now we're good friends, and the same goes with Sam and Matt, and we're all from different places. Sam brought a good point. From Bowling Green, when I've ever ended up in Paducah to meet y'all, it's just a lot of what is. So.
Me and Joey probably would have run into each other if we were still in active addiction. We're from pretty much the same area. But
are you from Muhlenberg?
No, I'm right next door.
Yeah,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's from Florida originally, but when he was living in Kentucky, our counties touch. So, and there's a lot of intermingling of.
We know the same females.
Long story short, we know the same females. Yeah.
I was beating around the bush. Way to go, Joey.
Yeah.
Brittany.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. Exactly Sam and you and I have talked about how we bumped heads early on.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
were a peer
you more
mentor.
bumped. I bumped your head, I think, more than the other way around.
Well, right. But I mean, like now we're great friends.
Yeah.
Bowl together often. Love giving each other a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
We get to work
And-
together, and me and Matt we get to go back and forth all day, which
So
Yeah.
we
For
both
the people
enjoy.
who don't know, what did you go to Center Point first? Was Sam already there?
I was already there.
And so were you a peer mentor?
I was a peer
Yeah.
mentor when he came in. I was
That's what I was
his first peer
setting the
mentor.
timeline, okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
when you're the MT1 peer mentor, you get the guys when they're fresh.
Oh, yeah.
None of them really ever like you.
And look, it's my first time in treatment, right? So I don't know that the peer mentors are people who just came through the program. I just think
think they
he's
work
some
there,
guy
like,
that like wants to teach recovery and like some guru and like thinks he's got it all figured out, and and so I didn't like him. Plus he's like, unless you knew Sam, he was like a mean guy.
I could see that. I
Like,
can see that.
and then, come to find out, he was just barely a peer mentor. Had just come through the program. And like, we had a lot more in common than I thought we did. But yeah.
Just what our sobriety dates are like 6 months apart, give or take.
Yeah.
And
So that's kind of where the friendship started, is what I'm getting at.
I think it started when I gave kind of a pull up to him instead of like holding him really accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was like, oh, he's not here just to bust my head
Yeah.
all
Right.
day.
Yeah. And then I knew it could be cool and, coming through the program, peer mentoring with him for a little bit before he came to
wow.
work down here. And then we've been working together now for a couple of years, and just friendships formed more since then. And you guys, sponsored you guys, and pretty much carried
That's
you to
what
where
you
you
call
are
it.
today.
Yeah.
And,
That's what you call it.
Yeah, see, like, I'll tell you a little story. When Matt came in, I was like, this dude is not going to make it. Like, he was community, so he could leave. It was COVID lockdown too, so like he could
That's
just
a big
leave.
deal if you're community in there.
Yeah.
Because you're like, they have the power.
He could just leave.
That's
There
what I'm
was
saying.
other than going back to the streets and living that same lifestyle, there was no DOC consequences or anything
Right.
like that. And I was like, during COVID, there's no way. And I mean, he looked rough. I mean, rough around the
Worse
edges.
than he does now.
Oh, well, way worse. I mean, night and day. And I was just like, and he did not like rules at all.
Never
Like
have.
none of them. And I was like, "There's no way this guy's going to make it. He's going to end up bolting." And then he stayed there. And then they said, "Matt's going to be a peer mentor." I was like, "No way!" And then he was a peer mentor. And then I heard he wanted to come to to Turning Point from Center Point. And then we snatched him up, and that was
Yeah.
3.5 years ago now, give or take,
Yeah.
when that started. Because I'll have, God willing, I'll have 4 years.
Almost 3.5 years in
In about a
February.
week and a half, so yeah.
Yep. And I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, I didn't want to stay. I didn't like the rules. I knew I could leave. We were talking about this earlier, like I just somehow, because of the stigma that I felt that was attached to community and how people were like, why are you even here if you don't have to be here? I knew I needed to be here. And so I kind of made that a challenge to myself. I said, I'm going to complete this program as proof that I needed it. And, which I didn't have to do, but I did it. And it's probably that decision to like prove to everybody else in there who didn't care whether I proved it to them or not that I needed to be there, is what saved my life, because it wasn't until towards the end of that program that things started clicking, and I really decided that this is what I wanted to do. And so, what's the score?
They just made a touchdown.
So, Clemson went up. They kicked a field goal. They're up by 2. Kentucky just ran it back. It looks like a 70-yard pass to a Bowling Green boy. He graduated in Bowling Green.
All right.
Got it down to like the 2-yard line. So we'll see. It's Kentucky football. A lot could happen. A lot could happen. But y'all's friendship. What I was going to say before that, y'all's friendship has kind of trickled down to where that's kind of where me and Joey first started hanging out. Was you were our sponsor. We'd go to meetings together. And then it was like, hey, do you want to go to movies? And then Sam would be there. And now me and Sam are friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
look at you go, man.
And then Joey came to work here, and then I got to know Joey, and I was like, I really like this guy. I probably text Joey more than I do anybody, really.
I wonder what y'all text about.
Well, we're not going to talk about it on here.
But that is fun. Do you remember, Matt, the one of the first times, I forget, it might have been a holiday. We were all hanging out down here.
Christmas.
Was it a Christmas
last
day?
Christmas.
And we started, Sam thinks that Ben Affleck is one of the worst actors and that every film is made worse because Ben Affleck was in it. And
Absolutely.
it was like 10 guys all sitting around down here, all going through Ben Affleck movies, trying to give Sam a hard time. I remember that was one of the first times
It's like where the friendship started.
It
between
really,
Sam and
it really
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Because I love a good argument. Like not like hollering, but like a good debate,
Right.
so to speak. So
to clear up the air, I was not saying Ben Affleck was the greatest actor of all time, but there's movies that are good that he's in.
But and my argument was that's not that is true, but if somebody else was playing him, it would be a better movie.
Yeah, they're both valid arguments. That was just such a fun day. Like, we're just sitting around here, and that was the conversation. And that lasted for over an hour of us debating Ben Affleck movies, going through IMDb, picking out all his movies, breaking them down. I mean, ridiculous, but that's the kind of fun we can have in sobriety. And that's like literally, I think, the first time you guys really hung out and spoke a whole bunch.
Yeah, it was.
So.
And like for if most people in Kentucky already know the rivalry between Louisville and Kentucky. We get along, but there's a couple times a year we don't. I'd say hate would probably be an appropriate word. Yeah. Like
I think the majority of UK fans are terrible people.
Yeah,
but
they feel the same way about us, though.
I know, but like most Louisville fans I know are pretty chill, and they're not like. There's a lot of UK fans that I met living in Louisville. Mm-hmm. I'm also a U of L fan, that just hated me because I was a U of L fan. I've never felt that way towards a UK fan in my life. Like, like who you want. Like, I'm not wearing my sports gear today because I really don't care anymore. Like, I have teams that I root for and support, but I don't get upset about a loss. I'm not going to be anymore punching walls and screaming at a TV. If I'm not playing and I'm not affecting the outcome of the game, I don't care. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. I enjoy seeing my team win, but I'm not going to let it mess with my serenity, or my friendship I have.
No,
somebody.
Definitely not. No. Like, some of my and Joey is a Gators fan, which is worse than being a Kentucky or a Louisville fan for sure.
I'm fine with Sam now.
There's a few times like Kentucky and Louisville fans will get along. Usually when one of us is playing North Carolina, Duke.
Correct.
Yeah.
We can we're all together in those moments. So I mean, it's I think that's like in those moments. Kentucky and Louisville gets along, and in moments of of sobriety, we get along with people we normally wouldn't because we're battling the same thing.
Right, and that's just like how we are united in recovery.
Yeah.
Like we're battling this addiction and alcoholism and this disease, and that's what unites us. We've had a lot, even though we come from different places and we've had a lot of different experiences. A lot of them are similar. Jails. Detox, we've had the same mentality, we've had the same struggles, so that unites us. And then the fact that we found something that works for us, and we need each other in this. We need other people, and it ends up being the people you least expect, like we talked about, that be your strongest supporters, and the people that you least expect are often the ones that make it, So that's what I love about this, is that we come from all different walks of life, and it's fun to like meet these interesting people that I would never have, hung out with before.
We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody. You want to know something? My biggest issue with meetings is, despite their name, they are never about me. Here at Turning Point, all of our meetings are for you and about you. We have meetings at least 3 times a day, 7 days a week. We are located at 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky. Call 270-444-3621 for more information.
As a woman in recovery, I know how important having a fellowship of women has been for me. Come join us at the Women of Worth All Recovery Support Group here at Turning Point, 415 Broadway, Paducah, Kentucky, every Friday night at 6 p.m., where we discuss our personal experiences in recovery. Hope to see you there.
Like, I have a whole bunch of good friends today, and I still have a couple back home, but like most of my friends today are people I've met since I've been in recovery.
Correct. Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of the guys I was running around with before are not in recovery, and it's just too dangerous. I love them, but I don't talk to them a whole lot other than a text message here or there or something like that. It's just unfortunate. Yeah. But when you come down here, and I think maybe the bond between a lot of us that went through Center Point when we did it has something to do with COVID as well, because
that was a different experience.
Yeah, we were just in the building together all the time.
Down, yeah. You either got to like somebody or you're gonna hate them, and it was hard to escape people in there.
Well, yeah, me and you were neighbors, in the hallway that SOS caseworkers forget about, which was the best place to live. That's what I always
that was the best wing.
Yeah.
Get 'em.
What's the score now?
35-30, a minute and 17 seconds left, and they've just ran the Clemson quarterback out of bounds.
Kentucky is winning.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good. We'd hate to see you cry on here.
Well, back to Sam's point about the Louisville UK argument thing. Both schools are better when the other one is good.
Yes.
So when Kentucky is good at basketball, it does nobody any good for Kentucky to be down like this year. I'm not trying to rub salt in the wound.
Oh no, I mean it is what it is.
When you flip back 5 to 10 years ago, both teams are in the top 10 in basketball, and when they play, it's like a national holiday. I mean, it's a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And that makes both schools better.
Yes, it does. If you follow sports right now, Louisville basketball is in a place it's never been before, which is in a dumpster fire.
Yes,
right.
Just a full out dumpster fire. It's in stage 4 addiction of basketball, basically, and it's rough if you're because I've always been a Louisville fan since I was a kid. My dad lives there. I went to games in Rupp Arena. Watched Louisville play Kentucky. I watched them play in Freedom Hall. I will never go to Kentucky again. And as a Louisville fan and watch any game there, that is a tough place to go if you are not wearing blue.
It is.
Yeah,
it can get ugly.
Yeah.
To your point, those 2 days a year, football and basketball is closer to hate than dislike.
Oh yeah, there was my dad had season tickets still, and I'm fortunate enough that he still purchased me one through all the years, and the seats beside us have been open all year, and some Kentucky fans bought it. And the guy that was sitting beside me absolutely hated me for the entire football game. I was trying to, and I'm
just
quite nice.
Have red on.
I'm quite nice, and it's in our home stadium, but I'm quite nice nowadays. I don't drink anymore and all those things. So my temper's not there. But this kid was giving me down the road, and I was finally just like, man. It just is what it is, and his dad ended up grabbing him and moving him towards the end, because I was like, God, man.
Some Kentucky fans are entitled.
Well, it's both ways. It's both ways.
It works both ways, but I think Kentucky fans, you can't, to Matt's point, I think majority of Kentucky fans are good people, to clear that up, what he said. But there are a few that are entitled and just act like an idiot whenever.
And the crazy, I think his dad grabbed him and moved him, and then his dad sat beside me, and me and him had great conversations about football the entire time. It was a totally different, but he's a 21-year-old kid, and I'm sure he had quite a few that day that led to some of the
I'd say so.
the comments, but in recovery. You go to a meeting, and some of us have the same background, some of us don't. Some of us.
Well, let's talk about some of our other differences in backgrounds, other besides sports. Because, like Sam, you're like a car salesman.
I was, yeah.
So I wouldn't have trusted you as far as I could throw you.
You probably shouldn't
I couldn't have been able to lift you up any until recently. Probably bench press you.
Yeah.
But Hobby, you're kind of a pretty boy golfer.
Country club.
Preppy
club
guy,
kid.
preppy kid.
I don't know what Joey is.
He's
Joey,
Florida.
He's a special creature. That,
Unique.
He's a
yeah.
middle of the
Tell
road
us about
Floridian.
yourself, Joey.
Okay. Previous to this, I was a coal miner. So
Never would have thought that,
Right.
Yeah.
worked at Pleasant View, worked at Warrior, did a lot of drugs.
The jobs do not define you.
That paycheck was nice.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so was the car salesman. And, I miss those, but that's life's in a different place nowadays.
Got more money and make less money.
No.
Yeah.
I do.
Well,
I do.
Yeah, that was one thing I learned early on coming out of Centerpoint is I was making way less than I'd ever made, and I had more because I wasn't spending every cent on drugs and alcohol.
Right.
So that was a nice turn of events. I could only imagine what I would have had or what I could have attained if I'd had not been doing that when I was making good money.
And
Oh, my gosh.
What'd you do in Louisville?
I did all kinds. I was a jack of all trades, cook, worked at GE. But, I grew up like a skater, punk rocker kid, but also kind of a hippie. Like I was a punk. Like I was all about anarchy, but I wanted there to be peace and love as well.
You about
What do
left
you
with some
call a
hippies,
punk?
didn't you?
Well,
Go to
I almost ran off with the Rainbow Gathering when I was 18. Exactly.
Wow.
What do you call a punk and a hippie? Would that be a puppy? Or if you were to combine them? I don't know. But weird. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I came from. And that was who I was. And I just didn't care about anything.
Yeah.
But I was mostly nice to people,
But I think a lot of us had a lot of different jobs. Like I was a car salesman when I wasn't doing too terrible. When I was doing too terrible, I worked at tire shops because.
Yeah.
So when it was borderline manageable, your addiction, you were a car salesman.
You're right.
Am I hearing that right?
Right. And then when I was full blown, and it was very evident, then I would go bang on tractor tires because nobody really cared.
Right. Yeah.
And I was a brick mason laborer in New Orleans once. And
I did a lot of construction.
Sold Kirby vacuums, so door to door for a while. Worked at TVA,
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Teamsters Union.
Yeah.
Nice laundry list of jobs. When you get, I never really got fired because I'd see the writing on the wall. And
Same
be like,
here, yeah.
You can't fire me because I quit.
'Cause I'm done.
That was always my favorite. Yeah, man, and I think jobs are a part of what make us who we are. But that, I always tried to pride myself on, my job is what my means to everything I do outside of my job. But that's why, I worked in restaurants, bartended, managed, cooked for a long time, and then I went to working at GE factories, UPS, stuff like that. I did construction, I did siding.
I worked at UPS.
I worked out on the river, on the barges for a while. I've done. I'm old. I've done a little bit of everything.
Right.
But you've also learned a lot
Oh
through
yeah.
that process. You could probably do just about anything.
And then that's exactly the attitude I go into anything with. Like even starting to work in recovery here, this was all completely new to me. Never had a computer job or an outreach job or a job where I talk to people and try to help them through their problems.
And you were so bad at it when you started.
Maybe. But exactly. I've always approached anything like I can do this because I've done all this other stuff. I'm a quick learner.
And I also think there's that attitude of, we all know what a bad day is.
Right.
I'll figure it out. No matter what's coming,
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Somebody said their teenager the other day posted a picture, and it was their check engine light come on Christmas, and they said the post was worst Christmas ever. I was like, oh, that's not even close.
Yeah. My car, the check engine light was always on. It didn't mean anything to me. You know?
If it went off, you would be worried.
Yeah, like, why is it off?
So what's the update on the?
They just scored a touchdown.
Clemson just scored.
Oh no!
like 18 seconds left.
18 seconds left.
What's the score?
Do you think they're going to run it all the way back?
No, it's over. It's over.
Well, that's
they're gonna
that
win by
quitter's
2 too,
mentality.
right?
It's
Just like a
35 to
UK
36. They have yet to kick an extra point, which they would probably go for 2 to make it. So they're up 3.
That doesn't help me at all.
I didn't figure it did, but
Yeah.
that's what it's looking like for now. They're up 1 at the moment.
Well, this is one of those situations where I don't like
You don't
Kentucky
want to
or
see
Clemson.
him.
I don't want to see him.
Doesn't benefit
Me to
U of
see-
L for him to lose today.
And no,
Well-
and I don't want to see. It's a
And
Kentucky
vice versa.
team.
If U of L would have beat USC yesterday or whenever they played, I wouldn't have lost today. A sleepover.
No.
I'd be like, all right, good for them.
Good for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
Everybody gets a bowl game anyway.
nah.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Well, next year you got the 12-team playoff, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a little bit different. But
I'm ready for that.
yeah,
To this whole podcast, this is probably my favorite part about recovery, though.
Yeah.
It's some of the people you meet that you judge right off the bat that you don't think you'd like. Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah.
I judge Joey.
Both of us.
Sam, I could see where Sam's a little loud.
Yeah.
Like he's a talker. So if you're not into that, which I don't see Matt being like Mr. Running for mayor, like politicking. So for them two to be good friends now, it's just funny how that works out.
It is,
Yeah.
and I think today through the program, I enjoy friends that are different than me. Like the more friends I make,
Right.
we're all a little bit different, I'm starting to figure out who I am. I mean, like I said, I'll have 4 years in January. I didn't know that I actually enjoyed going hiking until I finally did it, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And
Yeah.
we bowl.
You bowl.
We bowl. I mean,
We might as well get a membership to the movies.
yeah, might as well.
Been meaning to do that for a while now. Should have done it when it was the summer.
Even though they're
More
terrible.
movies.
Yeah.
They've been
Yeah, we saw
terrible
some
lately.
terrible movies. But to be fair, like Sam, I didn't think I like it all right away.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, immediately I liked because he's I love the weird ones, and especially the first thing, Joey, you want to tell the story about
Please
the first,
do.
Yes,
first thing
we
you
need a
ever
story,
said to
Joey's
me?
story.
Okay, I was going phase. I needed a sponsor. Everybody's like, hey, that dude right there sponsors people here. So I'm like, I bet. So I pulled up on him. I was like, hey, just think about this before you answer this. But I need a sponsor. Would you be interested in sponsoring me? And before you answer, I will tell everybody you touch me inappropriately if you say no.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
So I guess
I
that was an
laughed.
immediate yes.
Yeah, I laughed. I said, "That's an interesting approach. I love it."
He signed my paper right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Matt told me no at first.
Yeah.
did I really? I said,
You said, let me think about it because you had so many out there.
right. I said that to a lot of people after a while, but I ended up usually sponsoring them.
Well, you work at Centerpoint. You haven't had the joy of ending up with 6 or 7 sponsees at once and listening
I
to
get it
three,
now, but at the
three
time, I
fifth
was like,
steps
that's
in to a week and a half. Or
Yeah, because at the time I was Joey had just come back. I was sponsoring him. I had what?
Austin, Matt.
Yeah, I
I'm
had
not
several
gonna name
already.
drop any last names, but
Yeah,
that's why I was like,
I know I'll leave the last name out of it.
but yeah, well, I'm glad you did because we've become friends through the process, and that's usually what my goal is to being someone's sponsor is to see them succeed at this, and hopefully we get to the point where they're working a solid program and we can just be friends, and help each other out. Because even though I might be a little further along in this program and a little extra sobriety, I still have to work on this daily. I still have to do all the things that you have to do. I still have to apply this program.
And that's what we are now. We're friends.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Matt always brings out my competitive spirit in everything we do. So I got to jump on him. I was sponsoring guys before him, and by no means do I think that I'm this great sponsor. It's just I like giving Matt crap. So
Yeah.
at first he didn't have any guys that had made it through and really peer mentored, and I'd throw statistics at how well my guys were doing and working in recovery, and y'all have evened that out for him. So, he might actually be going above me on the numbers now.
But by nothing that I did.
No, it was nothing we did. It was just fun to give Matt crap over the fact that my guys were doing better than him. But then, I remember the day that Ben Affleck thing, and that made me immediately like you. Immediately, I was like, all right, yeah, this guy's give me some.
We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all. Did you know it's illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland because they get lonely? Here at Turning Point, we don't want you to ever be lonely either. That's why we're open 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Always feel free to come hang with our friendly staff, and don't forget your guinea pig. We're located at 415 Broadway Street, downtown Paducah.
Did you know that recovery from substance use disorder and mental health go hand in hand? That is why the caring and compassionate mental health professionals at Four Rivers Behavioral Health in Paducah are here to help you find your balance. They are proud of you for making the changes necessary to live a healthier life and would love to see you reach your full potential. Give them a call at 270-442-7121 or stop by the downtown location at 425 Broadway in Paducah, Kentucky.
And don't get confused. You run into some duds throughout the way.
Oh, yeah.
I made some great friends coming through the program that I thought like everybody I'm coming through with is going to make it. We're going to be friends forever.
No, that's not what I was referring to.
But I'm just saying, like,
don't make it, you're a dud. I'm saying,
okay, yeah,
you got to have a personality to hang out or for me to like you, because I joke a lot, just like they were talking about.
Yeah,
and like Joey obviously has a big personality, so we hit it off.
Not today.
Some people,
no, he's quite quiet today. I don't know.
He's quiet today.
Let's go.
Just hanging out.
Did you lose something?
No,
He was like that yesterday, and he's just been kind of
just hanging out.
lethargic.
Yeah.
What's your New Year's resolution, Joey? I was gonna ask you off air.
I love it. A filter just kicked in right there because, like, he smiled and he had something to say, and he was like, "Nope, not on the podcast."
That's growth, If you want to see growth, watch the podcast. That was it right there.
Live action.
The first podcast we did, how much did you had to
edit Joey a few things?
Joey edited because of Joey, I think. Went up there
with the elevator music.
Now he edits himself.
Yeah, it's growth and
newcomer of the year.
I'm telling you, up and comer.
Yeah,
but I don't know, man. Like, the longer I'm in recovery, the more people I meet, and usually the thing we have in common is recovery. And of course you meet some. Not everybody that's in treatment is always there to get ready. I guess is the word. Maybe they're just not ready, and but I love them too. But I try to keep my my close friends. The one goal I want all of us to have is to try to be better people, and I need friends that hold me accountable. And I'm in a room full of guys right now. I know that if I'm getting too far out of the way, they're going to be like, "Ooh."
Yeah,
don't mind to hurt a guy's feelings, man, if it's good for them.
Yeah, it's understanding accountability as a form of love, and real friends, people who really get each other, people who know each other's hearts they want to be held accountable by their friends. I know I do.
I do. I need it because I don't know about y'all, but I still suffer from some really messed up thinking at times, especially if a little bit of anger starts to creep up there. And I try to be, I feel like I'm a far less angry guy than I was 4 years ago, but it still can pop in there occasionally. I can get pretty frustrated. And I don't know if I really call it anger anymore because it's so much milder compared to what it used to be. Right. But I can just still get a little, and I can get a little full of myself and egotistical at times too. So.
Yeah.
I hate saying stuff like that out loud.
Right?
Yeah.
Growth. I think a lot of it's the way that we hold each other accountable too.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's kind of a joke, but it's like they were competing about sponsees. Like, it's a joke, but y'all you want the best for each other. So
Yeah. Oh, like,
and the best for our guys. You
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah,
I want
yeah,
to see you guys succeed.
Yeah.
You know,
like
Sure,
I'll
beat
get
Sam.
Riley over one of my sponsees that's doing well if you know, I will real quick, and I gotta inventory that too sometimes, you know.
yeah. That's the struggle, wanting it for them more than they want it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
at least till step 10.
Yeah, right.
Then you're on your own.
That gives you though.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
On your own.
Nice knowing you.
You know, most of the guys I have sponsored, I've ended up being really good friends with. You know, I mean, that's I think anytime that I'm really good friends with my sponsor, I think anytime you open yourself up to that type of vulnerability and really get to know a person that well, it's hard not to be friends at the end.
Right, and that's why it's hard for me to make what's hard for me to make new friends towards because you don't, unless you've had those shared experiences, unless you have that connection on some level, unless you've gone through something with someone that makes your bond grow stronger, you know, then it's hard to trust people on that level
Right.
to really let them in as a friend, you know, and that's the thing that we continue to talk about is that recovery is that bond, you know, and then doing it together and seeing each other grow and being an encouragement and a discouragement in a loving way to each other. It's the great part about this, man. And I'm glad to be able to do it with you guys, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, man, for real.
Well, Matt knows more about me than in certain ways than my parents do because of the 4-step process
Yeah.
and having to tell you stuff. So kind of hard not to be, like Sam was saying,
You
good
better
friends
keep
after
me
that.
close, bud.
Because if I do him wrong, I feel like he's gonna Facebook shame me, shame me in front of all 100 friends he has on there.
I think if you're being being a good sponsor, you know, your guys should always know that whatever he has told you is never.
That's why, it's a hard process for anybody, especially coming into recovery with trust issues like a lot of us do, man. That's why I tried to do that stuff where I'd come and take you to a meeting and hang out and develop some kind of relationship and bond before we got to that process, so that you feel, because I know for me, that's how it was when I got to the time in mind. I didn't know my sponsor at all, and I didn't want to tell him all my deepest, darkest secrets. My sponsor actually gave his lead at Centerpoint the night that we did my 5th step right afterwards. So
Wow.
that's when I got to know him. I was like, okay, I relate to him on a lot of this stuff now. I can see that, and it made it easier. But right before that, I was nervous about it, you know, and I didn't know if I was going to tell him everything for real.
I was lucky. Mine had an injury at work, which had given him an abundance of time to spend at Centerpoint. So by the time we had gotten to the 4th step,
So you know him pretty.
oh yeah, I mean we'd at least 3-4 hours of one-on-one time a week, every week until leading up to the end. So we were, you know, I dumped a lot on that guy still.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing it, you're like, oh, I feel so much better. You don't realize what the sponsor.
They got to carry it around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do now because now I sponsor guys. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So Kentucky lost.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
It's gonna be okay, bud.
I can't even, you know, right now, as a Louisville fan, you can't really give a Kentucky fan too much
We haven't had
stuff, you know,
there's-
because they beat us in football, they beat us in basketball. We did beat them in baseball, volleyball.
Y'all are really good in baseball. I will give you that.
Yeah.
But it's just tough being a Louisville fan right now. I was talking to another Kentucky fan, and I mean, he's diehard and just doesn't like Louisville at all. But he's like, man, I feel sorry for you right now, which makes me almost more angry.
Enjoy this.
You don't want sympathy from a UK fan.
If a UK fan is giving me sympathy, I'm just
Oh, by no means do I feel sorry for y'all. I just said it's better when y'all are good when we're good.
Yeah,
That just makes everything better.
Any sports fan wants there to be good competition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the one thing. I enjoy a good game better than I enjoy a blowout. You know.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's
Anybody.
20 years from now, Lord willing, if I'm still alive, am I going to be, hey, you remember that time we beat that 3-win Louisville team in 2023? No,
Right.
No,
nobody's.
But
You know,
but I do remember the time that Kentucky, I think one of the Rick Pitino years, we managed to beat them when they were on their way to winning a championship because they won a championship that year, but they dropped a game to us, and my brother's a UK fan, so I still like to give him stuff about that, you know.
I'll trade that every year. We can lose to y'all and win national championship.
I mean,
I'll
we
do that.
lost to y'all the year we did.
Final Four, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Good times.
So but you know, you always, as a fan on the other side, you always have that look hard, be like, yeah, but we beat you that year.
Well, we beat you. Yeah.
Be like, it doesn't matter, we won a national championship. Oh, yeah, you did, but we beat you. Because it comes down to that game. Like, even if you have a good season or not, you want to win that game. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you want to win
the
that
only
game.
game that matters.
Like Louisville had a good
And
football
then if you
season.
lose, that game didn't matter.
Louisville had a good football season this year, you know, with 10-3, but one of the 3 was Kentucky. I am still not happy about that at all.
Like we can go home at the end of the season and be like, hey, we didn't live up to what I wanted to be, but we beat Louisville.
A ranked Louisville team,
Yes.
you know, and it was just at our place, you know. So yeah, they got that this year.
Well, I'm glad that in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter to us here today
Right.
as friends. And
Right.
It does matter, not in our friendships, you know.
Right,
It's
right.
because I think that's we would not mix, you know. It's like, yeah, we mix now,
Yep.
yeah.
no matter what the color
Yeah, right.
that he is on.
I'm not mad that we lost or anything.
I know you are. I feel sorry.
You'll
for
get
you.
them next time.
We'll have to do this next time and give like reviews on the past 5 movies that we've.
Let's schedule a podcast on the next UK U of L game.
No, that's not until like November of next year.
Or in the NCAA tournament, maybe.
We're not going to be there.
That's true.
Absolutely no
never
chance of us being there.
No.
None. I mean, we might be lucky to itch out one more win this year. It's not looking good.
Y'all be fine.
All right, well, I love you guys.
I love you guys.
I appreciate you guys
Love you,
coming on
Matty
here
Bear.
to do this. What, Joey's already ready to take his headphones
I know.
off.
Joey
He's
was
ready
not
to
feeling
run.
this podcast
What is wrong,
today.
Joey?
Let's put all the attention on Joey,
He's got
make him
something
feel a
going on.
little bit better.
Joey, take us out.
God.
Yes.
All right, check us out on YouTube or listen to our audio versions on Apple, Google, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, and as always, stay grateful.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction or in recovery and needs guidance, speak with Turning Point's team of peer support specialists by calling 270-444-3621. You are not alone, and we are proof that recovery is possible.